Building the bike here at Deus in Venice has definitely had a different vibe and a different feeling than building bikes at my shop. It's really just like there is that weight that you carry knowing, there has been a lot of greatness built out of this shop, but at the same time, I'm super motivated to have the opportunity and be in a spot where, hopefully I can add to that greatness that's come out of here. Attention to detail on things is something I always describe as such a blessing and a curse. It's something that I developed and learned over time, like watching my dad from being a little kid, and everything he does, there's attention to detail, whether it's, the smallest thing. He does everything 110%, and it can't only be taught, it really has to be in your blood. I have this standard that I hold for myself, and everything needs to be done perfectly and done the right way, from the way it's assembled to the way it's disassembled to even the tools I use. And partnering with Snap-on has been the best threshold for that. Like, they're the best tools, and they're the only tools I'll ever use on these bikes. Every bike has a page in one of my notebooks, and it starts from anything from parts list to expenses, and then what you see is, like, as I'm building it, I write down all the torque specs that I use, what's Loctited, what's greased, what's not, what's set, what's to do, but mainly just something that I can go over when I do my once over at the end and make sure everything was put together correctly. Nothing was untouched. Everything has basically been modified or swapped out in a sense. Some of the big things, like, we're using the Brembo, like, factory works brakes that, all the race teams use, and it's cool to use, like, a motocross brake and then put it on to a dual sport platform. So it's kind of like the sense of in cars where they put an oversized brake kit, and doing that to these bikes, I feel like, takes on that street side of what a dual sport is. So that's a big piece for me. Most of the bolts we switch out all for titanium bolts, so just finding all the cool little trick tie bolts and in the right places. We'll stick to some of the stock bolts in some load areas, but a lot of titanium, from skid plates to front rotor guard, using some carbon fiber, and I'll modify the skid plate and make it more the enduro skid plate. The way it comes, it's very like broad and like to guard a lot of the engine cases, so I'll slim it down and kind of make it look more as like a motocross skid plate would look. Those are all cool pieces. Titanium foot pegs and exhaust. My advice to anyone that's like inspired by what I'm doing or that wants to like start building bikes is really just find what you like and really stick to what you feel like looks best, and not necessarily try to do it for someone else, but do it for you. I think in the beginning of building my bikes, they weren't necessarily accepted, like black bikes and doing this style, but at the end of the day, it's what I like and it's what I stand behind, and you can't really be told no or told you're wrong when it's something that you believe in.